All right. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, maybe even morning to my around the world rippers. I'm here to give you some information that you need to know and be aware of, okay? Especially my Oregonian rippers, all right? Pay attention to this. This is a sneaky bill against the 2A community that is being, well, quietly ushered in hopes that none of us notice and speak up, which we need to do because this directly affects those of us who carry concealed weapons permits and concealed weapons as a result, right? Why do we carry those? Well, we carry those for the protection of ourselves and the protection of others, right? Right. Like, for instance, in Texas, the church that there's video of, or the other church that was even before that, that unfortunately somebody who, is a bad person decided to shoot up. Well, in both of those cases, if it wasn't for the fact of a citizen with a firearm, especially the one in Texas that was indoors, right? If it wasn't for that, there would have been more than 2 souls lost that day. And we're praying for those people and their families. But the reality is there is no possible way that if that other person hadn't have been there with their firearm, that wouldn't have turned out to be much more of a loss than just 2. Think about it. How long would it have taken the police to get there and react to that situation with a man with a fully loaded shotgun, right? They wouldn't. It would have taken them many minutes to get there, and by then it would have been over or near to over, right? But because of a citizen who legally obtained his concealed weapons permit, was there and neutralized the situation and saved countless numbers. That church was packed, saved countless numbers of people that day, okay? So now here's what we're going to do. SB 554 in Oregon has been introduced. The people that are the sponsors, the chief sponsors of it, are Senators Burdick, Senators Manning Jr., Senators Wagner, Representative Persack, and Senator Reynolds, okay? Or he might be a Representative Reynolds. They have it all written funny. The regular sponsors are Senators Dembrow, Senators Frederick, Senators Gorsuch, Senators Lieber, Senators Prozansky, Senators Riley, Senators Steiner Hayward, Senators Taylor, and Representative Dexter. All of those people need to be on your call list and email list to leave messages saying, no, we do not approve, nor do we want you to back. You are here for us to represent us. We do not want this. And here's what they want to pass. It authorizes city, county, metropolitan service districts, ports, operating commercial airport, school district, college, or university to adopt ordinance or policy limiting or precluding affirmative defense for possession of firearms in public buildings by concealed handgun licensees. Period. Modifies the definition of public building, in quotations, for purposes of crime of possession of weapon in a public building, to include certain airport areas, buildings owned or controlled by public bodies, and real property owned by colleges or universities, period. Punishes violation by maximum of 5 years imprisonment or $125,000 fine. Increases fees payable to county sheriff for insurance or issuance of renewal of concealed handgun licenses. Takes effect the 91st day following adjournment sine die. Okay, so essentially, and it's always hard to read that legalese, but essentially what it's saying, first off, at the end, guess what? We're going to raise prices. Now, this is something that I've said in many chats, live sessions, and so forth like that. They are not only coming at us with bills against the Second Amendment, they're coming at us through the back door from many directions, especially costs. If you've noticed that a lot of these things that are trying to be gotten through and that are things that can be passed without, say, even a vote, like changing fees and things like that, and left up to people, they're going to make things expensive, like ammunition needing to have a license or even a background check or even a psych evaluation. Things like that all cost money. Having to have insurance, right? Having to issue a tax stamp, $200 tax stamp for all kinds of things like standard capacity magazines and semi-auto weaponry of rifle or pistol type, et cetera, et cetera. There's all kinds of things they're going to try for, but this is one that is being not talked about. And my guess is that in other states, it's the same way. You need to check. You need to check what's going on right now in your local government for your state and see what they're trying to get through. Because if this was to quietly go through with no opposition whatsoever, because that's what they're hoping that we don't say anything, because then they can go, well, nobody cared. We were just, we just passed it because nobody gave a crud. Well, we give a crud because, one, I think, first off, we shouldn't have to pay for the license that we have to conceal carry. I get it if they want to do a background check and things like that so that it keeps it in the hand of law-abiding citizens. However, there shouldn't be a fee on it. And why? Because they got plenty of tax money in order to issue these things. Two, because like I stated earlier, it is the first form of defense for these kind of situations we're dealing with today. The police will never, ever make it there in time. So you don't want to discourage it. You want to encourage it. And it's been proven that the states that have open policies for carry or constitutional carry have less crime, violent crime involving guns. That's a fact. Check it. Look it. Take your time to find out if you don't believe me. But aside from that, also the things they're coming after aren't the things that are high up in the "oh, I killed you" range, okay? They're actually lower. More people die from distracted drivers on cell phones every year, but we're not getting rid of cell phones or cars or passing any kind of funny laws except for fining you for them. But we're not getting rid of them, right? So, and that's in the like 4,000 to 5,000 a year range, okay? As opposed to in the hundreds, okay? So that being said, other than increasing your fee every 2 years or 4 years, depending on where you're at or what your license requirements are for your county, it's also going to leave the definition of public space or public buildings wide open. Okay? So you're out at a camping site or your park or anything like that. It's owned by the state, right? But because of that, it's a public space. You can't carry it in there, right? Or does the definition go through and it's like any public space, like a Wally World, like any kind of big box store, a library, or wherever? I mean, we don't know when that time will come when we need to defend ourselves and others. And we hope we never have to. But in the event that it does, we need somebody that's there or some person that's there that's qualified to defend everyone in the 30 minutes or 15 minutes. That's a minimum for the police to get there. Because in that amount of time, an entire building could be cleared. Are you getting what I'm saying? So for people who may not be fans of firearms and so forth, think about it that way. The day that somebody does walk into a place that you happen to be at that's a public place, and you get on your phone as you're hiding underneath the table, and then within 15 minutes, there's nowhere to hide. What do you want? Do you want somebody that's there that can protect you? Or do you want to take your luck with the police that once they get there in 10 or 15 minutes or longer, depending on the size of your city, and then set up outside, make sure everything's safe, try to contact the person inside, all while people are going down. This is not reasonable. It is not common sense. It is none of that. And it's being done quietly, which is wrong. Make sure to call those people and tell them, hey, we're not for this, and you should have told us about it. It should have been known by all as such anything that they're passing like that. Okay? It's important that our voices be heard, and it's important that we speak up. That's the whole point of building this community. This community, on the whole, mostly gives back. But we also need to start speaking up. Okay? Because it is we, the community, we, the people, right? The good people that are going to make change. We need to start doing that. If you disagree or agree or have any comments, I am open to hearing it. I am not perfect. I am human, and I am open to other viewpoints. Please put them down in the comments. If you agree, please put those down in the comments. If you want to add to it, put those down into your comments. If you find your state is doing the same thing, definitely put it in the comments, because everyone needs to know. And if you have a channel, be sure to talk about it. Okay? It isn't something that's controversial or anything. It's stating a fact that we should all know anyway. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you appreciate this kind of information. Be sure to ring that bell if you want to hear about it in the future. And know always that I care about you guys, and that you guys all need to stay safe. That includes having people that can carry, that are willing to stand up for you in a bad situation. Be sure to be secure in everything, your person's place, papers. See what I'm saying? And be aware of your surroundings at all times, because we never know when this is coming, and that's the whole point. It's not like I'm wearing a 6-gun rig on there with things and spurs and jingle, jangle, jingle. You know what I mean? That's not what it's about. That's the whole purpose behind concealed carry. I don't want to be a distraction or attention, okay? I want to be able to protect myself and others without anyone even knowing the difference. See? And be prepared for anything that may come your way. I love all of you guys. Adios.